What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Monday Night Rants. Of course, I am your host, Edward Rouse. It is October the 8th, 2018. And boy, do we have a great show in store for you tonight. What a great week 5 we had. Wonderful weekend of football, baseball. UFC was fantastic on a Saturday night with a wonderful ending, fit for any WWE on USA night and more. I'm not even going to talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, I am drinking water tonight. Yep, I know everyone wanted to know why I was drinking water. That's why. I'm thirsty, so I am drinking water. So the elephant in the room, I am drinking water. Yes. So anyways, what a good week we had, like I said, of sports. I would like to thank everyone for watching this show. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. A lot of people saw that this would be happening, and there's a lot of questions on why I am doing another podcast. And I'm doing another podcast because I want to do another podcast. So I'm doing one. It's called In Trust We Sports. Yes, it'll be with Anthony Zaragoza and guests, and that'll be coming out on SoundCloud / In Sports We Trust soon. So everyone was wondering why I am looking like I'm doing another podcast, and that is why, because I want to. So I know everyone too is also wondering, watching this right now going, why on earth is he wearing a wedding ring? And I'm wearing a wedding ring because I, in fact, am married. And I am married to a beautiful, beautiful woman. Her name is Rebecca, and I love her dearly, and that's why I am wearing a wedding ring. So, anyways, nothing to talk about because there's nothing going on here, so let's move on. Let's bring in Anthony Zaragoza and Josh Stanhill, and we're going to talk about Week 5, what happened. Drew Brees, kudos to him, by the way. Love myself some Drew Brees. Broke the record. I was about 5 weeks or too early on the Traquan Smith thing. What can I say? 5 weeks too early, but I guarantee you he's probably going to be a huge waiver wire pickup after the game he had tonight. Delivered, deservedly so. But keep in mind, Ted Ginn was out of the game, so he filled that role nicely. Of course, he caught the big touchdown pass that ended up putting Drew Brees over the yardage mark he needed to take on Peyton Manning and Brett Favre and become all alone on top of the pedestal of most passing yards in NFL history, and he's not even close to being done yet. So I think after this year, he has one more year left, and this could be a record that will only last until about week 11, maybe next year, because according to everybody, Pat Mahomes will have this record beaten by next year around the same time. Because he is the greatest football player ever to play football of all time. He's a 5-time MVP, a 4-time Hall of Famer, and the best football player in the galaxies. We all know that. I've heard that for the last 4 weeks. So Pat Mahomes will have this record beaten next week. Next week, yeah. Next week. Next year. We all know that, right? Yeah. So I know a lot of you are wondering why on earth I have brighter lighting today. And I have brighter lighting because it was kind of dark, it was cloudy, so I brought in some extra light, and that's why I have the brighter lighting as well. So let's bring in the guys. Anthony is with us again this week, as well as Josh Stanhill. We'll talk about what happened this week. We have There's Hope for Their poll, of course, like we do every week. Anthony bringing in the lit game there. A great poll this week. And surprisingly, Pat Mahomes wasn't involved, which is sad. It makes me sad. And we'll also talk a little bit about UFC, what happened. We'll start with that, and then some baseball talk. And then if we have time, maybe some waiver wire pickups. But it's supposed to be only an hour show, but you guys have me going forever. It's crazy sometimes. Absolute crazy. So let's talk some UFC. Let's bring them in. Anthony, Josh, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, bud.
Nice. How are you guys doing?
I'm pretty good. I was kind of clowning around this morning,
Yeah,
with the kids before work, and you know, got myself all worked up, messed with some painting in the bathroom,
yeah, I see.
and got a new hairdo.
You
I don't know
did?
if you've noticed.
No, I
Yeah,
have not.
got a new
Oh,
hairdo.
oh, it's very rainbow color. That's nice. I hear
Yeah,
that's
thanks for
in
noticing.
nowadays. I hear that's in nowadays.
It's lit, like the kids say.
It's lit. Yes, yes. Hey, you know what? Clowning around isn't fun. I
No, but
wouldn't
Josh,
know. I've never dressed like a clown, but I hear it has its bad side too as well. Paul Martinez asks, "Is T.J. Yeldon the real deal?" My friend, T.J. Yeldon will be the real deal until Fournette comes back healthy. So if you have him, keep on playing him. But once Fournette comes, don't expect anywhere close to anything he's producing right now. But who knows with Fournette, because he's a little baby and he has the hamstrings of cooked spaghetti. So
and you're not joshing around.
not joshing around, no. Not joshing around. All right, so let's get into it, guys. I watched the UFC fight. I know Josh did. Anthony, you were on it as well. Let's talk about, the elephant in the room again. What happened afterwards? Now, okay, if you don't know, if you live under a rock or you live in a far place and you're wondering why I am wearing this bracelet right here, it's because I got this bracelet from Hawaii and it means a lot to me. But Conor McGregor was beat by, apparently now it's Habib. I thought it was Khabib, but it's Habib. People have been saying it all the times around. That wasn't funny. Jesse says Joker. I don't know why. I assume. I don't know. I didn't tell a joke. Did you? I don't know why he's saying that.
No, this is serious business. There's no joking around on Monday
Sports
Night
is
Rants.
serious, Jesse. Okay. So, yeah. So he lost in the fourth round. He got choked out bad. He was already kind of winded, and he grabbed him around the neck, choked him out, and then tapped. And then he became what one would describe a psychopath. He started yelling at McGregor's team, took out his mouthpiece, threw it at him, jumped over the fence, and one could only imagine what you would call this move, but it looked somewhat like a WWE move. He literally flew into like an eagle, kind of, and that's his nickname, down onto the guy and tried to hit him, but he kind of missed, and then all hell broke loose. McGregor was throwing punches at his guys trying to get over the fence himself. Then his other teammates jumped over the fence and started swinging at McGregor. All in all, it was a setback to the sport. And I've heard some arguments, too, on baseball. It's no similar to, because I was saying how that's a disgrace. You should never do that. Own integrity. You just choked out a guy. You pretty much made him your bitch. And then you're going to go ahead and do that. Who is this guy you're even trying to fight anyways? Who cares about him? No one even knew his name until now. So you did multiple things wrong because now people know him. So... But people were saying, well, it's no different than baseball when a pitcher throws a pitch, in the direction of a batter, and the batter charges the mound and swings at the pitcher. You know what? They have a good argument there, because that's kind of not good for the sport either. It's kind of bad for the sport. It's exciting. I like when that happens, but that's a good argument. Football, but the only thing I find that compares that I've seen to this, and the only reason is because the fans were so close and so involved. In baseball, you got a backstop. You got, the fans are involved. Was when Ron Artest went up into the crowd and started fighting with the fans. That's the closest thing I could find to what Habib did after he won that fight, right? And
essentially that's what it was, and that's the worst part. Like you said, there's fighting in baseball, obviously when there's tempers going on. I think we saw that, I think game 1 or game 2 of the Red Sox and the Yankees. But when you add in the fans, I think that's the biggest travesty in the whole thing. You got Habib, who obviously was going against one of McGregor's guys, but when he's jumping in like a flying squirrel and going ballistic in the crowd, and then like not 5 seconds later, one of Habib's guys jumps over the rail and Colcox McGregor, like I think there's a fine line, and once that line is crossed, who's to say something like this doesn't happen again? And how far does that go the next time?
Yes. That's exactly right. And what else you got to think, too, is that, well, first of all, McGregor wasn't completely innocent in this. He tried to jump over the fence as well, but it wasn't shown on the main cameras. And while he was trying to jump over the fence, another one of Khabib's guys from the ring tried to jump over the fence, and McGregor threw his first punch at him. And then the rest of Khabib's guys jumped in and tried to fight him. So they're both not, innocent to this. But the reason why this is going to be looked at even worse than I think the Ron Artest thing is this is a sport that's about violence. It's based on violence. You know what? And I love the UFC. I love watching the UFC. But I think this will hurt the UFC worse than what Ron Artest did for the NBA or any type of player running at a pitcher, only because now people are going to be thinking, does this deserve to be a sport? The people are this angry and this violent where even after they win, they want to go beat other people up who aren't even involved in the fight itself. I understand they were both talking, well, really McGregor was talking trash on his family and his religion and all that. And you know what? That's part of the game too. And even the guy was yelling at him through the octagon while he was fighting on McGregor's side. There's still integrity in it, in winning and being a champion. And being a champion and being a role model to other people, you have to have integrity, and neither one of them had integrity at all, in my eyes, from what happened. So,
for sure, it was like a big circus. You had elephants, you had clowns in there.
Yeah, you're right. There were clowns. There were clowns there.
And like you said, when does the fighting start becoming, like you said, the WWE, a production, a show? You got the colors, you got the whole, trash talking. It's obviously the rematch is going to be huge.
We all do know.
Set up for that.
We know that every good show out there has clowns, though. Sure. That's a fact.
Sure.
Without a doubt.
You don't need to make it a Barnum and Bailey kind of a thing.
No,
you can just really. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it was a straight up circus. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And it was a good show.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, we all know the rematch will come. McGregor's already called for it and asked for it and everything like that. And the fines are up to $2 million, as I seen right now, is up to $2 million for Khabib with a 6-month suspension. Yeah,
but that's just for UFC. There's a chance that he could actually get his visa revoked and not even be able to come back to the States to even fight that rematch.
Correct. Well, they would have to go to Russia to even have it done.
Yeah.
Which McGregor's not going to go.
No, of course not. So we'll see. Regardless, I thought, no matter who's talking crap on you, no matter what, there's a sense of being a champion that has integrity written all over it. And I thought he handled it poorly. And it's going to set back the UFC a little bit. I was listening to the Jason Ellis show today on SiriusXM. They're big into UFC there. And a lot of people calling in saying that they're not even going to watch UFC. That they thought that they both handled themselves poorly. They're tired of all the pageantry of the lead-in of just crap talking. It is almost like UFC. It really is. I mean, like WWE. And that was the perfect example of it there. So, all in all, I think Khabib whooped his ass. He was literally had the whole fight under control, all four or 3.5 rounds. So, he deserved the win. He got the win, and I think even a rematch, I think McGregor has a lot to do if he's ever going to withstand those takedowns. And if I was him, I'd be running from a rematch. I would hope that he lose to somebody else, and then he has a chance for his belt again, or go up a weight class or something, because I don't think he has a chance the way he fights against Khabib. All right, so that was the UFC. Like I said, there was a lot of clowning around there. Moving on to Drew Brees. I talked about it a little bit earlier. You guys, Traquan Smith is finally a thing, and now he's going to be a waiver wire darling, like I projected. But it just took 5 weeks. That's all. You guys think Drew Brees, I have a question for both of you, is, well, a first-round Hall of Famer, but when he's all said and done, will he be considered on the top 3 quarterbacks of all time?
Sadly, he's not, just because he has that one Super Bowl ring, which I think puts him in the conversation. But it's almost like the steroid era. A lot of those guys who hit a lot of home runs, they lose a little bit because of the time they played in. And Drew Brees is going to be one of those guys that loses a little bit because of the passing game. When Dan Marino was doing what he was doing in the 80s and 90s, teams weren't throwing that ball that much. So it seemed more impressive. Now everybody's throwing the ball. I think Peyton Manning did a video, and, he had the record for touchdowns about 1,000 days ago. It was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That's going to get broken probably next week. So you keep seeing these records break and loses a little bit mystique on it. And it sucks for Brees because you're talking about a guy, second-round pick. All the naysayers said he wasn't tall enough, he wasn't big enough, wasn't athletic enough, everything that you could say. And he's going to go down as, one of the greatest passers of all time. That's just awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think he's going to be the first round Hall of Fame. So,
oh, yeah. No,
first ballot?
First ballot, 100%.
Without a doubt, yeah.
I mean, you not only the passing yards, and he did win a Super Bowl. You even have people that didn't win a Super Bowl that are in the Hall of Fame. And it just, his numbers and what he does off the field as well will show that why he deserves to be that first ballot.
Yep.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely first ballot for sure.
But is he in your guys'? I want to be serious. Sometimes, Edward, you joke around too much, and I want you to be serious for once.
Okay.
Is he a top 3 quarterback in your book?
Of all time.
Of all time, top 3.
Well, you got to look at just you got to damn, people on Facebook are funny. People on Facebook are funny. You have to look at the other records he's beaten too. He's the most accurate quarterback of all time. He's going to join the 500 club next week. I think they have a bye week, so the week after, which only Favre, Manning, and Brady have done. I just think he very well could be the quietest top 3 quarterback ever. Because, Brady he's been to so many Super Bowls. They're in the AFC Championship every year. And then you got Brees, who has his one, but, other than that, he hasn't been to any, really. And he's slowly just beating all these records. And at 5'10", too, he may be the top 3 quarterback ever in the history of the league that no one is talking about.
Ooh, I like that.
So, there's more records than just that. He has a list of them. Like I said, he's the most accurate quarterback in NFL history. And that's not because he's only played 2 seasons. His name's Pat Mahomes. That's because his name is Drew Brees, and he's played 18. So that's impressive. There's records that we may not even see broken again. Like I said, this throwing record, he still has this year and probably next year of still putting up numbers. Who is going to come close to it besides Pat Mahomes next year? Nobody.
That's the only guy.
Yeah. So that's the only way that happens. So I think quietly he is, in my book, a top 3 quarterback of all time. And you know who else agrees with that? DMX. So there you go. All right. Were there any other football games going on this weekend? I didn't catch any. Anthony, did the Raiders play?
I will say the Browns won again.
Yes. Yeah, they're 2-2. The Browns have a better record than the Raiders, I hear.
That's the deal.
You know what? Actually, on Sunday, I took a nice walk around the neighborhood for about 4 hours. And 4 hours. I went to the circus in the afternoon.
Oh, I thought they went out of business. Now you still...
No, there's a few clowns around here in town.
Oh, there are?
Kind of show up. Yeah.
I haven't seen any recently.
No.
I haven't seen a clown for a while, so I'm still waiting. I would like to... I kind of like clowns. Actually, you know what? I lie. I saw that movie, It. I saw that movie, It.
Sometimes, Edward, they're closer than you think.
That's true. They could be right on my nose. I don't even know.
Well, Paul Martinez just asked, would you start the Browns D the rest of the season?
Well, Paul Martinez, I would definitely not start them the rest of the season, but I would stream them. They are a top defense. They lead the league in takeaways. And, a lot of their first round, I hate to say it, but their first round picks last year actually worked out for them. And they're playing very, very, very good. As far as turnovers, and they're getting the job done enough, except for the game against the Raiders. But I would definitely stream them in the right situation, hold on to it, and let's give them an accurate. Let's see, Browns schedule. Man, thank you guys for taking this show seriously and asking great questions. Because sometimes, we can, joke around too much or, clown around, and, we're trying to be serious here. So,
yeah.
Let's see. We got the Chargers next week. Definitely wouldn't play them next week. But Buccaneers, yes, you can play them because, like I said, they're a turnover defense, and no one turns the ball over better than Jameis Winston. That could be a commercial. And then they got the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Stay away from that. Then they got the Chiefs, then the Falcons, then the Bengals, and never mind. Just drop them. That's terrible rest of this. Terrible rest of the schedule. No, I would drop them. I would drop them and stream. That's a terrible schedule. Wow.
Oh, man.
That is bad.
You know what? Let's talk about the question everybody wants to know. I'm tired of this, dude. Let's just talk about it right now.
Okay.
Yes, the Chargers beat the Raiders, okay? Gosh.
Yes, I know. And that's not all we have to talk about. Because a bet was lost. And when a bet's lost, you have to stick to it. And everyone knows that there was a bet lost, and that's why we're here tonight, and that's why we're doing this tonight. A bet was lost. Okay? Sonny Michel outproduced Jay Ajayi in the same amount of games before Jay Ajayi went down with an ACL, and that's right. I have won the Michel Ajayi bet, which means Anthony Zaragoza will have to wear a Chargers uniform, take a picture, and put it everywhere on social media for a week. DMX, what do you think about that? Yeah. All right. How do you feel, Josh? Are you looking forward to seeing those pictures?
Oh, the powder blue will bring out his eyes.
I think he's right.
I have brown eyes, okay? They're not popping out anything.
Except for the shit that you might be feeling when you're wearing it.
Oh, that's a good one. You know what, man? I'm a man of my word. It sucks that it ended before we're only 5 weeks in.
I know.
And it's over.
Already over.
But you know what? Yeah, next time I get with Edward, I'll put on that ugly jersey and that hat and just
own it.
Hey, be lucky it was only 5 weeks. Some bets take 164 games or 163 games.
It's true.
Just so you know.
You know what? You always look at the bright side of things. You always have a smile on your face.
I do.
And I appreciate that.
I don't know why tonight. I just feel like smiling all the time. It's just that great of a day. I don't know what else to say.
You have a glow. Exactly. I was right about to say that.
Yeah, glow.
Yeah.
I got stars over my eyes, baby. I am so excited.
Yeah. I can taste the rainbow. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
That's right.
Skittles,
Well, let's go to a quick recap of some of these games here before we do that. There's hope for their poll, huh?
Perfect.
All right. The Thursday game, of course, was the Colts and the Patriots. There really wasn't much to it except for the Colts aren't very good and the Patriots are looking like they're dangerous again after their slow start. And, of course, my boy, Sonny Michel, now a every week starter for your fantasy team no matter what, and he will be the rest of the year. And so is James White. If you have both of them, you could literally start them as a 1-2 and probably beat people. They could end up being this year's Ingram and Kamara. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. So not much there except for the Patriots made it look easy. The Colts kind of got back into it, and then some garbage Ebron points towards the end. You guys take away anything except for that Josh Gordon caught the 500th touchdown from Tom Brady there?
The only thing I got is, if you weren't able to get Nyheim Hines already, get him for sure now. The guy looks like he's going to be the PPR back to have in that backfield. So definitely swoop him up, especially with buys coming up and, running backs getting hurt, ACL injuries, whatever. So Hines is definitely a guy you need to pick up right now.
Yep.
And the other thing I got too is that love that came back for the Edelman and Brady is back, and Hogan with the drop passes, the fumble that happened in the game, he's not going to start target. He's going to lose those targets now.
Yeah, he was slowly losing those to begin with without Edelman, so it kind of hurt him a little bit more. But yeah, you're right. Hogan is droppable. I hate to say it. I would still pick up to him. I would still not pick up, but hold on to him and kind of play him as you would on a bye if you need to. I wouldn't drop him completely, but and Josh Gordon's going to still be more involved as the season goes on too. So really, I don't really trust any of those guys, honestly. I'd rather just stick with the running backs there and not worry about the receivers. That's what I would do.
Isn't that funny? With all the years the Patriots running backs have always gotten stuff for, this is finally the year where you could actually trust not only one running back,
but two. Yeah.
Come on, man. This is the fantasy gods making me mad because I made that bet.
2 straight weeks they both had a touchdown, so it's crazy. Packers got really beat hard by Detroit. Rodgers still doesn't look right to me. I know he threw for 442, but he's still having some issues. Not as bad as their kicking issues, though, because Mason Crosby, wow, that's about as bad as a kicking game you could possibly do. And, Paul, I'll get your question in 1 second. And, man, but that Detroit team is so hit or miss. Like, at home, they play like they're the champions of the world, and then they go away and they just suck. But did pretty well. Kenny Golladay continues to prove that he's the real deal. And without much weapons on offense for the Packers, besides Marquez Valdez-Scantling, yep, that's a real person, which I played in in FanDuel because he was so cheap. Once I knew that he was going to get the start, really helped out me there. And also, you could have found that out on FantasyAlarm.com. And all those receivers for Detroit looked dangerous again, and it looked like Detroit were against the Patriots. It's so weird, that team. And as far as rushing the ball goes, we've been talking about it every week. It's still a committee I don't want to touch between Montgomery, Williams, and Jones. It's just awful. So any takeaways from that game, guys? You got to go quick.
No, just another solid game by Kerryon. Only 12 carries. LeGarrette Blount's going to be that thorn on his foot all year for some reason. Got the 2 touchdowns, but Kerryon Johnson looks like he should be getting those carries more and more every week.
Yeah, I mean, and then like you mentioned, I mean, yeah, Mason Crosby missed 4 field goals, but
5.
The other person that 5. You're right. Sorry, apologize. 5 field goals, but Devontae Adams still came out with 9 receptions, 140 yards, and the touchdown in that game for the receiving. But except for that, nobody. I mean, everyone's banged up, so it's kind of hard to throw to first year guys and not really have anything consistent.
That's very true. Before we move on, Paul Martinez asks, is Greg Olsen worth picking up or trade bait? He is worth picking up. Looks like he's going to be playing this next week. And with all the tight ends and how terrible they've been, if you're someone like me who had to pick up Jeff Swaim this last week and play him, you're a guy who is either a trade bait, but I would hold on to Greg Olsen because tight end is so slim. So, yes, he's worth picking up. He's going to kind of play the rest of the year with that ankle injury and have surgery in the offseason. But, he's still good for 5 catches and 60 yards a game. So, he's fine there. The stinker of the week, the Cleveland and Baltimore game, went to overtime, 12-9. Cleveland wins their second overtime game in 2 weeks and 3rd of the season. Yeah. 3 of their 5 games have gone to overtime, 1 a tie, of course, and they've won 1 and lost 1. Man, that Browns team plays close to the end, don't they? But it was a game.
Surprisingly, they could be 5-0 right now. That's the scary
part.
part.
No, they could. They very easily could have a better kicker in the beginning of the year and a bad spot, really, with that Raiders game. And you're right, they could be 5-0. But it was the battle of Joseph versus Tucker, and in the end, I guess Joseph won. The only touchdown was Higgins, a 19-yard pass from Baker Mayfield, which Joseph missed the extra point, ironically enough. So, you guys have any takeaways from this game? It's terrible.
There's also that defensive field goal block that the Browns had on field goal block they had, and that really made that stop that put it into overtime. They did that. Carlos Hyde is still doing pretty decent as a running back over there. Still looks like Carlos Hyde from old. And, yeah, you got a full team that's still looking at Baker Mayfield and surrounding him.
Yes, you are right. And you know what? He does look good. He's going to have his woes. He's going to turn the ball over because he's very aggressive. But 25 of 43, 342 and a touchdown with an interception. What all you people who spent all your fab money on Nick Chubb, 3 for 2. Yup.
You mean 2 touchdowns?
No, 2 yards.
2 yards.
That's why it's tough, man. 1 week he got the same amount of carries, but 2 different results. Big different results.
Yeah, huge. Moving on to the Miami-Cincinnati game here. People are talking about some weird stuff. A clown possum. I'm not sure what that is. No, Jim, I did not lose the bet. Anthony lost the bet. Sony Michel actually scored more points than Ajayi in the same amount of games. So I didn't lose a bet. Anthony lost the bet. He'll be wearing a Chargers jersey and have all his social media and stuff be that for a week. Go Dodgers from John. Yes, go Dodgers. They did win today. They're going to play the Brewers, who are a team that nobody wants to play right now. So hopefully the Brewers win. Miami, Cincinnati, they are who we thought they were. After Miami was, 3-0? Now they're 3-2. That didn't take long. Kenyon Drake got into the game. 22-yard pass from Ryan Tannehill, the first Drake touchdown of the year. But still, they don't rush him. I don't know why they don't rush him. He went 6 carries for 46 yards. That's a great average, but they still took Frank Gore 12 for 63. Like I said before, no one trusts Kenyon Drake. No one. His whole life. When he was in flag football, when he was playing in elementary school, I bet he didn't even start. They've never trusted him. It's crazy. And he's still putting up, good yards per carry averages. It's so weird. Andy Dalton kind of came back down to earth a little bit. Joe Mixon is back. And if you have Giovanni Bernard, you can drop him. 22 carries for Mixon. He's fine. A.J. Green, 6, 112. Normal A.J. Green. Tyler Boyd kind of fell off a little bit as well. And nobody wants to take Tyler Eifert's spot as far as the tight end is concerned. Do you guys take away anything from this game besides those stats? Really nothing, to be honest.
Well, no, I think you hit it on the nose. You hit it on the nose. I think we're good.
I mean, the only thing you missed was, you did talk about the Kenyon Drake rushing, but how about his receiving of 7 for 69 yards?
Yeah, that was the touchdown. That was the touchdown. Yeah, but we'll see how that plays out because, rushing is where he needs to be. But hopefully they suck like they did and they're constantly playing from behind the rest of the year because I still have Drake in a few leagues because people just let him drop, and that's how it works. The Giants and the Panthers, another fantastic game. Cam Newton didn't do all that much, but he didn't need to because, another solid Christian McCaffrey day. We'll see. Devin Funches, Ian Thomas in the mix, Curtis Samuel, Jarius Wright, and even DJ Moore had 4 for 49. All around good effort from everyone there. McCaffrey doing his thing again, of course. And then OJ Beckham. Odell Beckham. I had a really bad joke. I was going to talk about a net, but I'm not going to do it because there wasn't a knife involved. OJ Beckham. Odell Beckham.
Hey, stop clowning around, man. Stop clowning around.
He's clowning around all the time here. Odell Beckham, 8, 131, and a touchdown. This is right after he talked about how his team, what did he say during the week? He said they don't have any heart or something. I don't know.
Well, I think his biggest thing was they weren't throwing the ball down the field enough. So it's ironic that he goes and throws a 57-yard touchdown to Barkley.
He does, yes.
But it's a lot of chaos right now with the Giants. They're kind of hit and miss. They got a lot of talent, and right now they're sitting 1-4.
Well, their defense is not very good. Yeah, their defense is not very good.
Yeah, their defense has been struggling. But yeah, they're in a bad division, so they're not completely out of it. But it's a circus over there in New York, and they just keep goofing off, man.
Yeah. But did you see the smile on his face when he threw that touchdown? It was amazing.
Was it good?
He just lit up.
Yeah, I heard it was really cold there too, so a lot of their noses were red from the cold. Yeah.
You hit it on the nose.
Yeah, I did. Cold. Another game that I wish never to watch again was the Buffalo Bills and Tennessee Titans. The Bills 2-3, huh? Yeah, 2-3. And here's my thing with Tennessee. last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, they could have beat any team in the league. Mariota was awesome. And this week, of course, I played Mariota and stinkers. 14-26, 129, and an interception. Corey Davis, 449. Not too bad for a PPR, but, man, what happened to all the targets there? And the Buffalo Bills at home, they're not – okay, yeah, they're bad, but I guess Tennessee was just 1 point worse than they were. And Josh Allen continues to prove that he can't throw a touchdown pass, but he can run them. And that was all I got there in that terrible game.
Yeah, I didn't see in the scouting report coming out of Wyoming that he was a mobile quarterback.
I didn't either.
I did not see that, but it is what it is. Yeah, this was a pretty rough game, so yeah.
Josh, anything or nothing to see here? Move on.
Move on.
Okay.
Move on.
Blowout Central. Pittsburgh Steelers 41-17 on the Atlanta Falcons. James Conner coming out party. Right when they announced that Le'Veon Bell's coming back, Conner decides he wants to go all crazy. And that's, nuts. But Conner looked really good. Antonio Brown, of course, got 2 touchdowns in this. Juju Smith-Schuster. The whole team was on full display. And for the Matt Ryan and the Falcons, they are suddenly find themselves in must-win situation at 1-4 through 5 weeks, which is crazy. But Sanu, continued to somehow the last couple of weeks steal touchdowns from, which is not hard to do from Julio Jones. But Calvin Ridley only 4 for 38. Like I said, if you take away those touchdowns that he had, 5 of them now, not many fantasy points to go around. He's kind of so think about that going forward. He's kind of touchdown dependent. What do you guys take from this game?
No, yeah, the big thing that I'm excited about because I own him in a few leagues is Devonta Freeman. He only had 8 carries, but he looked healthy. He was making nice cuts. So moving forward, hopefully he starts to pay off some of his fantasy owners for drafting him in the second, third round. But it was a good, positive move forward with the way he looked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it just shows that when they have their number in the rushing, like the defense has the number in the rushing, it doesn't matter if it's Freeman or Coleman, it's not working.
Well, if they're getting blown out and their defense can't stop anyone because of all the injuries they've had in that secondary. Right. Their defense can't stop anyone, so all year.
And I agree with you because that's why they put Ish Thomas in for a few. So, like, I thoroughly understand that. But, I mean, then they're going to, throw. But, I mean, they got to find a middle ground for all of them to start getting that line and everyone clicking again.
It's going to be rough, though. I want no part of those running backs the rest of the year because their defense is not going to stop anybody. So as long as if those running backs get a touchdown in the first quarter, great. But after the first quarter, there's going to be a lot of passing going on. And I don't know why they're giving Mohamed Sanu so many targets, but it's working.
But you got a question of the over-under when you think the Jason Garrett firing is going to happen.
Oh, not this year.
That's been on the topic. Yeah,
not this year. It'll be next year.
You think he makes it through the whole year?
He'll make it through the year. Yeah. I mean, dude, Jerry Jones has been known for being patient, so patient, and through his whole career. I mean, I don't see him getting fired this year, and he understands that his team, besides Zeke and Dak, there's nothing on it. He knows no receivers on that team.
Correct. And the defense cornerbacks they're just getting exhausted because they're out there too long.
And offensive line keeps on getting hurt too. It's not his fault.
One thing I know about Jerry Jones, he doesn't like to look like a fool. He's not going to dress up and look like an idiot out there. That's not him.
Yeah, he would never dress up and look like a clown.
No. I am when I wear that Charger jersey, but
who does that?
At the moment, whatever.
All right, let's move on.
Moving on to the Jets. Jets 2-3. Something else we didn't see coming. Paul, I'll get you a question shortly. I'm going to mention that actually coming up when I talk about the San Francisco 49er game. Denver Broncos, man, talk about a fall from earth. 3-0, 2-3 now. Not looking good. Their offense is just not putting up points. And for some reason, Royce Freeman can't catch a break. And the guy looks like the best runner on the team, the strongest runner on the team. 5 carries for 31 yards. Lindsey 12 for 61. Just absolutely. But Royce Freeman just looks the more powerful back, the more aggressive back. Is just really, really bizarre. Case Keenum, another 300-yard day. 2 touchdowns and an interception. But Sam Darnold, 3 touchdowns on 198. And Robbie Anderson, welcome back. I'm sure he's going to be picked up by a lot of people. Keep in mind that was only 3 targets. So, and this is what Robbie Anderson does. He'll have one game where he gets two touchdowns and 3 receptions. And then for 2 straight games, he'll have 1 reception for 12 yards and 2 for 20. That's what Robbie Anderson does. So the Jets stick up. That defense is still pretty good. We're streaming in the right situation for the Jets and Denver. And this was in Denver, wasn't it? No, it was in New York. I was going to say.
It was in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough loss for them.
What about that Crowell? 15 carries, 219 yards.
I'm so frustrated with him. That he's made me look like a fool the last 3 weeks. 2 weeks ago, I benched him, scores 2 touchdowns, didn't have that many yards. I started him last week, 0 yards rushing, and now this week I bench him and he goes off for 219 and a touchdown, making me look like a clown, man.
Stop making people look like a clown. Why do people always want to make people look like a clown? It's terrible. It's terrible. Anything to add on that, Josh?
Powell still gets the 20 carries, 99 yards.
Yep.
But except for that, like you said, I think that defense is worth streaming. That line is really aggressive and gets those sacks. They really are coming together.
Yep, I agree with you there. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Pat Mahomes road show continues. Jesus, it's just unbelievable. Another 4-yard rush for him. Kareem Hunt with a rush. But guys, I don't know if you heard the news or not. Did you guys hear the news?
Oh, it's big news, man.
Did he break Drew's record?
No. But he threw 2 interceptions. And no touchdowns, guys. No touchdowns, yet they still found a way to win. Unbelievable. But Pat Mahomes did not have his greatest day, of course, and still found a way to win. 22 carries for Kareem Hunt, 87 and a touchdown. That's what we're kind of waiting to see. He's still very touchdown dependent because he hasn't really been involved in the passing game, which is really strange. Blake Bortles, 430 yards passing, but 4 interceptions, 1 touchdown. Yeldon had a pretty good day. Really involved in the passing game. Of course, they had to be. They were behind by a lot. 4 for 70 for Keelan Cole. And my Westbrook, 3 for 55. Kind of disappointing considering they're going up against the Chiefs defense that couldn't stop anybody at all coming into this. What do you guys have any takeaways except Pat Mahomes finally shit the bed, but still won, which is crazy.
No, I just read a news article this morning that Kansas City Chiefs are changing their name to the Kansas City Mahomes.
Really?
So that's my big insight. Yeah. He's going to run for mayor in Kansas City.
Oh, he already won.
Oh, did you hear?
Yeah.
Did you hear that he is a relative of Alex Rodriguez as well?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Is he his son?
Say it again?
Is he his son? Do they have the same doctor?
Nephew, actually.
Oh, okay. So they don't have the same doctor?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, he might have a nice little referral that goes to him.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
A referral.
Is he on the subscription package, the same one that Alex Rodriguez was on?
I don't know. It just
That's a
depends on how
steroids
many
joke,
dogs he
people.
sees.
All right. Moving on to the game of the week. The Los Angeles Chargers and the Oakland Raiders. Yes, this game wasn't a game. And the Chargers kind of pretty much... Who's Matthew McCrane, by the way? Is that some guy they pulled out of the crowd and said, hey, can you kick? Is that how that worked?
Yeah, they signed him up last week, and he is... The sad part is that's probably the most exciting part of our team right now as a kicker.
Wow. Well, he did hit a 24-yarder, so that's great. Congratulations on that.
There's hope for there.
There's hope for there, yeah.
There's hope for this was a rough one. Derek Carr had a costly interception on the 1 yard. I can't emphasize it enough. If you're on the 1 yard line and you have a man they call beast mode, please run the ball. Please.
Tell that to Pete Carroll.
Oh my God, right? Yeah. That's my public service announcement. That's all I got to say. Just run it with him. Gosh.
Phillip Rivers, 339, 2 touchdowns, only sacked once. That offensive line has been great all year. Melvin Gordon, 19 for 58, not much on the ground there, but 4 for 62. Another 100-yard effort for him. And Austin Eckler continues to be a major part of this offense and a great fantasy option going forward as a flex. Keenan Allen, 8 for 90. Mike Williams, 3 for 45. Tyrell Williams caught a crazy catch, too, in that game. Antonio Gates, 2 for 19, which is above average for him, but no touchdowns, which is rare. And then Virgil Green he was the Antonio Gates touchdown stealer. And, the Chargers made it look easy all game long. Melvin Ingram, they just couldn't stop him on the defense, which is what it was. Josh, anything there except for his pretty dominating performance by the Chargers?
I mean, you're looking at it's sad when Martavius Bryant is the leading receiver for the Raiders. So if that's the case, it's never going to be a good game. Yet might be not a good season for the Raiders.
It's looking like that so far. Well, at least there's going to be no 0-16 teams in the NFL this year. Congratulations, Mr. Josh Rosen, on his first victory in the NFL. Interesting game. Not really. The 49ers looked actually decent. And C.J. Beathard, Beathard, whatever you want to call him, he's actually putting up pretty decent numbers. Another 300-yard game and 2 touchdowns. So he's putting up decent numbers. Fantasy-wise, don't know if I would trust him still, but if you're playing DFS, he's so cheap. I mean, the same production you got from him is what you paid for Cam Newton. And it's just interesting that he's throwing up these numbers. Rosen, 170 and a touchdown. That touchdown went to Christian Kirk. Like we said 3 weeks ago, that's the guy he likes. And David Johnson, welcome back to fantasy relevance. 2 touchdowns as well. Matt Breida did go down with an injury. They say it's a high ankle sprain. Poor guy. There was a question from Paul asking if Breida's were starting when healthy. Yes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at it before he went out. It's awesome. 8 for 56, 1 catch for a touchdown. He's the best back there. Alfred Morris is getting old. He went 18 for 61, which is nothing to write home about. So, yeah, if he's healthy, start him, because he's also the passing back, and he's getting rushes, and he's making the best out of his rushes. So, yeah, definitely start him. You guys take away anything from this game other than that?
No, just good to see David Johnson come back to life, like you said. But Christian Kirk, we talked about it, like you said, weeks ago. If he's still somehow available, pick him up. The guy is their big, long, down-the-field threat. That connection with Rosen is definitely there, so pick him up and have him on your roster.
Yeah, I agree. And just to add to that Christian Kirk thing is saw a little article that said that him and Rosen were bunkmates when they actually came to camp and decided to do one-on-ones together before camp started.
But I'm always down for the one-on-one.
That's right.
Oh, that's nasty.
That was too good. That was too perfect. I had to do it.
That was some good insight there.
That was some good insight. It's almost like you were in the bunk with him. Did you guys tell scary stories? Tell stories about what you did over summer.
Don't be jelly.
I'm not peanut butter and jealous. The Seattle Seahawks and the Rams gave us a classic. The Rams had to come from behind without 2 of their best receivers and Brandon Cooks, who went off in the first quarter, not catching a pass, giving everyone a big goose egg. Big goose egg.
You are one pathetic loser.
That's right. 1 target, 0 receptions, 0 yards for Brandon Cooks. And I don't think he's going to be back this weekend. That looked pretty nasty. It's a pretty nasty hit. I think he's in concussion protocol, so we'll see if he comes through. And then Cooper Kupp went down with an injury as well, leaving Robert Woods as the lone target. And, well, you don't need those guys when you have Todd Gurley, apparently, because 3-touchdown day for Todd Gurley. Mike Davis and Chris Carson, 2-headed monster. If you had that in the beginning of the year, Come on with that. But combined for 31 touches for almost 200 yards rushing between the two of them, between Chris Carson and Mike Davis. How many rushes did Rashard Penny get, Josh? Do you know?
0.
0. That is correct. 0 for Penny. Why draft the guy in the first round if you're not going to play him and you're going to play Mike Davis and Chris Carson? They literally sound like a law firm. Come to Davis and Carson. It's crazy. Russell Wilson, 3 touchdown passes, but only 200 yards passing. And, Tyler Lockett get in the end zone there. And then the two to, what's this guy? David Moore, Mike Davis, and Chris Carson. They sound like 3 really expensive lawyers. What did you guys take from this game, other than the injuries and the comeback by Jared Goff?
No, I think, like you said, it was a good win for the Rams. Good teams find a way to win. That's what the Rams are right now. So they found a way, even when they weren't at their peak. But looking forward, Gerald Everett right now is probably their best receiving tight end. If Kupp and Cooks is missing any time this week, definitely pick him up as far as a streaming tight end. He could get some uptick in targets. Goff is he's playing right now. He's definitely going to find them, especially in the red zone. So that'd be a sneaky pickup for you this week.
Yeah, and you got to play Robert Woods as a number 1 or a number 2. He's not on your bench this week. You're playing him no matter
Don't
what.
bench any Rams player right now, no matter what.
Yeah.
But I think, Eddie, instead of lawyers, those guys should be CPAs.
See you go. Yeah, CPAs.
Oh, okay, I like that. All right.
But Vinette, maybe for the other tight end, because since what's his name, Disley? Yes, is gone. I think Vinette might be if you're going to stream as well, he might be a good streamer.
I'd rather have Jeff Swaim over him for the Cowboys, to be honest. Just because Swaim, he led the team in receiving yards last night, but more on that game coming later. Minnesota and Philadelphia. A good game. Minnesota, a much-needed win to go to 2-2-1. 2-3 are the Eagles right now. And, of course, we talked about Jay Ajayi going down with that injury. When did that even happen?
It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's crazy. So that happened at some point in the game, unless he did it he got out of bed this morning. So not sure where that happened, but now it's going to be the Clement Wendell Smallwood show. I'd rather have Clement, to be honest. I think he becomes the rushing back. Well, Smallwood becomes the third down back going forward for that team. Really kind of staying away from both, to be honest. I have Clement in a few. I've held on to him, and he's just going to be my bye week plug-in going forward. Wentz 3-11-2, not enough. Zach Ertz had another big day, 10 for 110. Dallas Goedert, we always say, everyone's saying you can start 2 tight ends. 2 for 16, that's 2 straight weeks with a goose egg. So no, you can't start 2 tight ends from one team, especially when tight ends stink. For Kirk Cousins, 301 and only 1 touchdown. And Latavius Murray, just nothing, filling in for Dalvin Cook again. Another, of course, Adam Thielen breaking a record or tying a record. 5 straight games now with over 100 yards receiving to start a season. Good for him. What did you guys take away from this game?
No, kind of like the same thing. Jay Ajayi broke my heart. Now I have to wear this just god-awful, ugly jersey coming up. So I'm still a little butthurt about it, and that's all I got.
Could be worse. You could be dressed like a clown. I could have made that bet.
Oh, yeah. You know, you always know how to make me smile, Edward. I appreciate that, man.
I know who does that. Anything from this game, Josh?
I mean, it just shows that the Thielen-Diggs combo really works, and it doesn't matter who you have or if you have both. I mean, like you were saying with the dual running back in New England, a dual receiver right here from Minnesota.
Yeah, definitely. The Dallas Cowboys and the Houston Texans. I actually only watched a little bit of this game, and I turned it off to watch a movie because I was so uninterested in it, and I was so footballed out. I was like, and then I found out I went to overtime. I was like, oh damn! So I went back and watched the short game version of it, which you can get on NFL.com, and it was pretty much what you would think it was for a 19-16 game. Ezekiel Elliott was kind of held in check a little bit. 20 carries for 54 yards, but 7 for 30. He continues to get more involved in the passing game this year. I guess you kind of have to when your team doesn't have any receiving options, and your number one receiver is Jeff Swaim. That's right, Jeff Swaim, who's worth a pickup. I was forced to pick him up. In all my leagues, I have Trey Burton because I have Trey Burton in a ton of them and play him. Did pretty decent for me, I guess. 8 points at the tight end position. Not too bad, not too great, but enough. Let's put it that way. Yeah, I mean, Deshaun Watson, 375 and a touchdown, threw an interception. You know, did DeAndre Hopkins, 151 and for 9 receptions. And Kiki Kuti, who we talked about last week on the show, still 6 receptions, 7 targets, and a touchdown for 51. He's going to be something. So if you picked him up and you spent some, you know, if you're in some fab budget, or if you just were able to get him off your waivers, he's going to be something down the rest of the way. It could end up being a great flex for you or a great fill-in on a bye week. So if you got him, kudos to you, or kute to you. What do you guys take away from this game?
The only thing, I know Lamar Miller's probably coming back this week. He was pretty close this past weekend, but Alfred Blue didn't blow anybody away, only averaged 2.3 yards per carry, but had 8 receptions. So if Lamar Miller does have any lingering issues for the rest of the season, Blue looks like the guy, at least for the short term. So
Deontay Foreman will be back next week.
You know what? The thing that makes me nervous about Foreman is he's had issues with injuries already in the past. He's already been out the majority of this year. Blue is a guy who could be like a TJ Yeldon, doesn't wow you running the ball, but if you're able to catch the ball at the backfield, and if the Texans are, you know, going to be throwing the ball as much as they are right now, it's going to be worth a spot, especially with bye weeks coming up.
Yeah. Josh, anything?
Next. Well, it's not even worth talking about. I mean, no.
Well, they already talked about firing the Cowboys coach. I mean, geez, come on.
I mean, well, that's my point. There's nothing else to talk about on this.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, some burn, bro. I don't got any burn. Hold on. What's this one?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
That's what he meant to say. That's what he was trying to say right there. Definitely.
Zach.
Oh, man. This is my favorite time of the show, guys. Right now.
If someone marries me,
interesting defense
there's
pick.
hope
I like
for
it.
there.
That's right. This week's There's Hope for Their poll from Anthony Zaragoza. I'm sure there'll be no clowning around here, and Pat Mahomes will be the number one answer like it is always. He probably wasn't even in the poll, but there was enough comments that he actually won the poll. What was this week's poll, Anthony?
Well, unfortunately for me at least, I have a lot of stock in running backs that have been frustrating the heck out of me this year. This weekend was no excuse. There was no missing on that. So I had another tough weekend. So it got me thinking, okay, I can't be the only one that's just hating life right now because of the running backs I picked. So I asked the Twitter world, from these 4 options, who's been the most frustrating running back to own through the first 5 weeks of the season? And I looked through all the numbers, seen who was out there. I don't want to put Le'Veon Bell, your boy, because I know you've been talking a lot about him all year, so I left him out. I left out Patrick Mahomes because he would have won this somehow. Even though it's a bad poll. Yeah. So, you know, even bearing injuries, you know, I took that into account, but some of these guys on this list have just frustrated guys waiting up till, you know, 10 a.m. on some weekends to start them. So my 4 options for the most frustrating running back to own through the first 5 weeks are, number 1, Devontae Freeman.
Okay.
Number 2, Derrick Henry.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Number 3, Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
And number 4, who's hurt me in some big leagues, Leonard Fournette.
Yep.
Yeah, screw both Leonard Fournette and Delvin Cook for like being healthy and coming and playing and just giving us crap points and then leaving and just never coming back and missing the next game. Screw them both for that.
That's the worst part.
Yeah, that was terrible.
They're bad. So
okay.
I sent it out this morning on Twitter.
How many did we get this time?
We nearly got 1,400 votes.
1,400 votes! Woo! 1,400 votes. Wow.
Dude, misery loves company.
They do. And Pat Mahomes wasn't even involved.
No, he actually got the least amount of votes, so he's the winner.
All right, lay it down to us on this week's
If someone marries me,
interesting defensive
there's
pick. I
hope
like it.
for there.
There's hope for their poll. Number 4 had to
Number
be...
4 is Devontae Freeman at 7%.
Ooh, 7%. Okay. Number 4 makes sense. Got hurt game 1, but he's back. So I guess, still though. Okay.
And we're looking at small sample size. Looking at the first 5 weeks. So obviously, his outlook probably looks the best out of the 4, but still, it's been a headache. I've been starting weird guys. I bet other people have been in the same boat. He costed you probably a late second round, early third pick.
A lot of people had him as their number 2 going in like in the second round. Yeah.
Exactly. So number 3 on the list, I was surprised. I thought he was probably going to be maybe 1 or 2, but at 18%, Derrick Henry.
Ooh, that would be my number 1.
Wow.
I think so. I think Derrick Henry would be my number 1. Wow. Yeah, because he's the only one that hasn't been hurt. He's played in every game, and he
just sucks.
He probably has less points than Leonard Fournette does. He just sucks. Wow. Interesting there. Okay, number 2, Cook, I'd imagine.
Number 2, Dalvin Cook at 26%.
And then number 1 is Fournette. You know why? Because Fournette's the only first-round pick on that list, and that has to be why.
Yep.
And that's the biggest deal. That's the most responses I got on Twitter. Leonard Fournette, he probably costed you, late first. If you were, I thought, fortunate enough, but here, unfortunate to get him in the early second. But he came in at 49%. So half Twitter said, Leonard Fournette, I'm pulling my hair. I heard someone say they pull their hair so much that it started getting miscolored. It was like green, red, yellow, just
their hair is probably stronger than his hamstring.
Oh, those are some good puns, man.
They are. Yeah, he's been terrible. I mean, even when he's played, just his hamstring issues. He comes in, he plays 10 carries for nothing, goes out again. Then he's missing 2 more weeks. Why rush him back if the coaches, they made it seem like it was nothing, it was no big deal. If it was later in the year they would have played him, then obviously not. We'll see what happens, but this could be something that lingers, the whole year. And, now they've lost 2 games and they're, 3-2 and that.
And I think the biggest thing is Yeldon's actually looked pretty good, so at this point, why rush Fournette, your lead back, your franchise running back? At least in Dalvin Cook's scenario, Murray's looked like crap. So there's more
Murray's
incentive
looked
to
really
get him
bad
out there.
Yeah, Yeldon has looked good, but not in rushing situations. I mean, he looked better in passing situations, and they kind of set him up to be that way. They need Fournette. I mean, they need him to be healthy, and they need the whole offense to go through him, or else they're not going to win games. Even though Yeldon looks good, if the offense isn't going through him, 4 interceptions from Blake Bortles. Blake Bortles isn't consistent. Leonard Fournette when healthy is, and that's the difference.
I can't take you serious, man. You're a joke.
Am I? I thought this is a pretty serious show, man. Pretty serious show. I don't want to say I'm a joke or anything. I'm not clowning around. Jeez. Well, thank you. That was a good one this week on the.
If someone marries me,
interesting defensive
there's
pick. I
hope
like it.
for there.
All right, we got one more topic to catch on. It won't be long, real quick, and then we're going to say our goodbyes. Major League Baseball playoffs are upon us, and today, yep, the Oakland Athletics losing to the Yankees in the wild card, and the Colorado Rockies beating the Cubs. Man, Cubs fans were pissed about that. And that's, I kind of don't like the one game scenarios, only because it doesn't really truly define the whole team. I mean, they work so hard to get here. A lot of teams, to make the wild card, they're pitching their best pitchers 4 games rest instead of 5 just to make it, and then they get 1 game, and that pitcher may not even be ready to. It's just not. I don't like it. I understand more people need to make the playoffs. Well, then just make 6, make it like football, and just make them all 5-game series. Why not?
I like that.
Yeah, why not?
That's actually a good idea.
Yeah. I think 7's too long. I mean, 5, we have, 3 and 4 during the regular season. Boom, there you go. Make them 5 all the way through, and then make the World Series 7. Why not? I'm full of ideas today, guys. Full of them. Man, it's my happy space. This idea.
You got your A game going right now, man.
I do, man. So, but yeah, with that being said, already we've had 2 punch tickets, of course, and the Brewers, who look like the team that no one wants to play in the NL. They look amazing. They're just all cylinders right now. They won like 22 of the last 24 games or 27 games or something like that, and they're just, they have the home field advantage, and that matters in baseball because Miller Park's a good hitter's park. And the Dodgers, after winning today against the Braves, who I projected would do terrible in the playoffs because their pitching stinks, did do terrible in the playoffs, and the Dodgers are moving on to play the Brewers. I'm going to say Brewers in 7. No. Brewers in 6.
You want to put a bet on that?
I do not. I am not going to do any bets against the Dodgers. I refuse to. More on that later. But also on the other side, the Indians looked absolute terrible, even with Kluber and Bauer. Awful display of offense from a team that was great all year. And it looks like the Boston-New York series will probably go to 5, I think. If I had to, it could be over tomorrow night, but it's just that kind of series, you just know they're going to push each other to the limits and go to 5. And I said all the way through, Houston has the best advantage in the playoffs because of the pitching. Now the rest and the pitching. And it's going to be tough to beat them for whoever wins between Boston and the Yankees, but either one of those teams are also capable of beating them because it could be a home run fest either way. So I like, so far so good. I kind of watch here and there. It's on during the day while I'm working and stuff. So I watch a little bit, but I don't really get too excited until like the next round where it's like just the intensity just even picks up even more. And I'm kind of going for the Brewers. I like a team that's never won before, never been to the World Series before, never won a World Series. So I'm going for the Brew Crew to win the whole thing. Probably won't happen because the AFs or the AL teams are really good. But there you go. I'm going for the Brewers. You guys have a quick little recap of what's happened and who you guys think are going to win. We all know who Josh thinks is going to win, but
Well, for me, I like the Brew Crew. I mean, they've did the 1-2 punch, gives the black and blue, eyes to both the Cubs and the Rockies so far. And then now hopefully they kind of continue that into the Dodgers. I like to see them in the World Series as well. Obviously, I'm not going to say that obviously, I'm going to go for the Red Sox. But if the Red Sox doesn't do it, then obviously I'm going to go for the Astros and then see the Brewers to win the whole thing. I'd love to see that.
No, my money's on the Dodgers. When you need the Dodgers to come in clutch on that last game, when it comes down to the end of all, they show up, man, and they're clutch.
Yeah, I've learned that if you don't bet on the Dodgers in that last game, they can make a clown out of you. I've just learned that.
Dude, it's true, man. It's like, how could you go against them? Why would anybody bet against the Dodgers? They've won the division 6 years in a row now. Who would have said in their right mind at the beginning of the season, my money's against the Dodgers?
Yeah, somebody had to. I'm sure somebody did somewhere.
Well, somebody did, but they wouldn't be my friend. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
None of my friends did that.
Mine neither. Not a chance. And you know what? They would be pretty close, though, because it did come down to a playoff game, like a one-game playoff. So they were close, more than so people gave them credit for.
That is true.
But if I were to make a silly bet on something like that, I would still be true to my word and make it come true. I would do that bet, and I would make sure that I stuck to my guns and I followed in the bet, just like you're going to do with your Chargers jersey, right, Anthony?
No comment. No, I will. And you know what? You guys make sure you check it out. Follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, and Facebook. I will have that disgusting jersey on, and please don't roast me too bad.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm taking it to the dry wash, or the dry cleaner, the dry wash, a car wash, yeah. No, the dry cleaner this weekend, and I'll have it nice and ready for you. You can put it on.
Oh, trust me, you're gonna want to do the dry cleaners after I'm wearing it. Just trust me.
Doesn't it say Zaragoza on the back?
No, no, I didn't go that far. It's just gonna be a Phillip Rivers jersey. He's gonna eat like ribs without napkins in it. He's gonna eat sloppy joes. He's gonna go to the bathroom with it on. He's going to take a shower with just that on and nothing else.
Did Sarah tell you what I'm going to do with it? Did my wife tell you what I was going to do? God.
I think she did. All right, guys. Well, that's it for us tonight. Anthony, you have any plugs or anything you want to do?
No, just make sure you're following me on Twitter at Zaragoza Anthony. I'll be having the new There's Hope for Their poll out pretty soon. We'll be getting some really great feedback, guys, so make sure you check that out. And let's keep on enjoying the NFL season, guys.
Yep. Josh, anything?
Follow me at Jay Stanhill on Twitter and us at Monday Night Rants on Twitter. And constantly we're updating, we're moving on things, and remember to go on Fantasy Alarm and Wager Alarm and really see how you can win at football.
That's right. Exactly. Win at FantasyAlarm.com and get a free week of that if you go to FantasyAlarm.com/Rouse. Another big week of winning. I played that Marquez Jenkins Smith-Schuster guy from Green Bay because they told me to, and guess what? I won. It was awesome. So to all the Dodger fans out there who are watching and will watch the replay, here you have it. Boom. I'm not a liar. I'm true to my word. This one's for you. And also, guys, remember, the 5th of November. No. Yes, follow me too on Twitter. It's at Edward Rouse. It's right down there. Monday Night Rants. New podcast from us to coming soon with Anthony called Trust We Sports. Because there's hope for there. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Next week is Monday. I think I'm going to dress up next week. I haven't dressed up for this show yet. So I think I'm going to look nice and fancy next week. I just have the feeling. Enjoy football this week. We have who's the Thursday night showdown this week? It's
I think we have
Philadelphia, right?
Eagles.
Yeah. Philadelphia in a
And the
short
Giants?
week. Eagles and the Giants. Oof. Well, that ought to be a real barn burner there. All right, well, enjoy the Thursday night game. Enjoy playoff baseball. Enjoy it, guys. It's the best time of the year. Hockey, go Ducks. It started already. Basketball starts next week. If you haven't already, join our football league. There's
Basketball.
Basketball league. It's all over the place on Twitter. You can find the links or direct message one of us. We'll get to. So until next week's, always remember, turn that frown upside down and never clown around.